The Supreme Court has issued an opinion in the case of Twitter versus Tamna. The case centered around the issue of whether or not a social media platform can be liable for aiding and abetting a terrorist attack. Joining us now for more is CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. All right, Jessica, so this just came down. Walk us through this case and exactly what today's opinion is.
This was one of the two big social media cases that was argued back in February, and it asked basically how much, if any, liability can be imposed on social media companies like Twitter, Facebook, Google, and YouTube for providing a platform that might be used by terrorists in planning terrorist attacks. And what the court said today is that the plaintiffs who tried to sue Twitter based on an allegation that creating that platform and creating algorithms that allowed people who are interested in terrorism basically to meet each other, that was not enough under the applicable federal statute to say that they aided and abetted in a terrorist attack. This dealt with a terrorist attack back in, I believe, 2016 in Istanbul. And what the court said here is you need to do more. And again, the basic allegation by the plaintiffs was, Twitter, you should have done more. Not that you aggressively said, are you trying to plan a terrorist attack, come onto our platform, but that you should have done more to kick terrorists off.
That is very interesting. I'm going to go forward to the Google case too, because it's in the same vein. And I want you to explain, what are the differences or similarities with the Google case?
The Google case also really interesting and brought up a slightly different issue. That case dealt with something called Section 230 of the Communications Act. And this is a section that was created back in, I think, the mid-1990s, which is like the infancy of the internet. And it essentially says that you can't impose liability on platforms based on things that other people post on those platforms. And this has created huge immunity for big social media companies, again, like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, because the idea is, by and large, they cannot be sued. They cannot be held liable for things that you and I post, for instance, that might be slanderous or defamatory. And the idea was that at the time, we wanted social media companies to flourish without the fear of liability. That case wasn't exactly decided today. What the court said is, we're going to send it back to the lower court in light of this decision in Twitter, but they gave hints in that Google decision that the plaintiffs would not be successful in that case either. Big takeaway for viewers, it's a good day for social media companies. The Supreme Court did not upend our legal understanding of really broad protections for them.
Yeah, I mean, social media, when you think about it, you think, well, it's been around for a while, but it really hasn't been.
Right.
I mean, when you think about the Supreme Court now upholding these cases that are really kind of new in the world. So, I mean, will this have any impact on social media companies moving forward? I mean, we've seen, Elon Musk and Twitter be in the news a lot recently, Facebook, Zuckerberg. What might this mean for them in the future and their companies?
I think it's a great question. The bottom line here is that it's not going to change how social media companies do business right now, that the Supreme Court, as they basically indicated during oral arguments in February, that they don't want to step in and, again, kind of undermine or upend what has been our understanding of these applicable federal laws. So that means this, again, puts pressure on Congress and the companies themselves to try and police misinformation, disinformation, and bad actors like terrorists from using those platforms. I think what the Supreme Court is signaling is not it. We're not going to be the ones to do it. Even though they decided to hear the cases, you could hear them in oral arguments kind of feeling like, oh gosh, maybe not us. And Justice Kagan has this famous quote now in the Google case where she said, you're not looking at like the 9 greatest experts on the internet here, meaning maybe we shouldn't be the ones creating these new laws.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I think they might want to read up a little bit because I suspect there'll be more cases, that they're going to have to listen to as we try to kind of manage what is almost sort of unmanageable right now. Like when you were talking about, maybe Congress would have to sort of issue regulations, but they have to issue regulations within the law. And if the Supreme Court is saying, Section 230 supersedes almost everything, the issue is Section 230.
Well, Congress could decide to amend or change Section 230. So there's nothing in these decisions. It's a great point, Anne-Marie. There's nothing in the decisions that say, Congress, you can't touch Section 230. It's just instead, the Supreme Court is looking at 230 saying, it's not allowing us to impose liability here. And that's why I think it puts more pressure on Congress to say, these rules were written when we could not have imagined that information would spread the way it does. Maybe it's time to go back and rethink that. Because Congress has not acted and not acted and not acted, that's why we're seeing more of these cases pushed to the judiciary, because people want the laws to change. And the Supreme Court today, not explicitly, but is kind of saying, look, that's really, if you want a different set of rules, then look to our lawmakers.
And I always like to remind people when they are trying to understand Section 230, you know, newspapers can be sued for defamation or for wrongful behavior. You know, television station. But Section 230 treats these online platforms like the mechanism to deliver the information, like the printing press or the telephone. If you picked up the telephone, you heard something you didn't like, you wouldn't sue the telephone maker, right? And so that's the kind of protection that these platforms enjoy. But you're right, the way information is spread, the impact that it can have in an instant, there are increasingly louder calls to figure out a way to manage this sort of stuff. And the internet companies don't really seem to have the answer, to tell you the truth.
No, I mean, the technology is always changing, Jessica. I mean, obviously, Senator Blumenthal earlier this week talking about ChatGPT said we were late to the game with social media last year talking about it. And before you know it, they're just going to be later and later with new technologies every couple of years. So it's going to keep happening. All right, Jessica Levinson, thank you so much.
Thank you.